Thanks so much for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. My name is Joy Lynn Macron. I want to let you know about a couple of missing person cases that we're following to see if maybe you have any information that can actually help. Okay, so first let's take a look at this image that's on your screen right now. Pardon me, just a little bit of a technical issue. So in Clayton County right now, there's a search underway for this missing man. He's 20 years old. His name is Tajon Haylett, and he's actually visiting from New York. He's been staying in Morrow for a few months now, and he was last seen on George's Way yesterday afternoon. He was wearing a dark-colored Nike sweatsuit. We're told he actually suffers from psychosis as well as depression. So that certainly increases the urgency to help find him. If you know anything about where he may be, if you saw him, you think you may have saw him, you're asked to please contact Clayton County Police. I also want to show you this image of another missing man, a Walton County man who apparently disappeared in Louisiana. This is Nathan Millard. He was last seen Thursday night around 11:30 in Baton Rouge. Investigators say he was visiting the area for a work trip when he went missing. Family says since then his phone was found 4 blocks from the hotel where he was staying. His debit card had been used, but family's not actually spoken with him at this time. Baton Rouge police posted this picture of him to social media in hopes of finding him. And obviously, if you think you know anything about where he may be, please do reach out to authorities as well. Also, another story that we've been following, the earthquake in southern Turkey. Well, at least one person is dead after a 5.6 magnitude aftershock hit, and that adds to the more than 50,000 who have already been killed since the first quake hit on February 6th. As the cleanup presses on, help is coming in from everywhere, thankfully, including from right here in Metro Atlanta. In fact, the Hamza Islamic Center here in Alpharetta has a shelter in Mersin, Turkey, helping with housing. They've also been sending clothing, diapers, and other items desperately needed.
If you see the devastation and you see people in need and you see people living literally right now, I know in Turkey people live in parks. They don't have anything and they need shelters and they need help, and we have to do our part as a human being. We're blessed with a lot of things over here, and we can afford to help, and we need to help.
Certainly do. So, you know, we've been following this story, of course, here on Atlanta News First Plus and Atlanta News First. And you can keep following along on our website and our digital platforms and keep up to date with information on how kind of the recovery's going and what you can do to help as well. Okay, so you also know what's going on with the Atlanta Hawks. Remember, we reported last week when they fired the head coach. Well, now they have introduced a new one, so want to show you his image and introduce him to you as well in case you didn't know this. This is Quinn Snyder, who is set to be officially introduced as the head coach today. Atlanta News First reporter Madeline Montgomery explains this is not his first time in Atlanta.
You've definitely seen Quinn Snyder's face before because he's been right here at State Farm Arena working with the Hawks years ago. So let's take a look at what he's been doing since then. Snyder was head coach with the Jazz for 8 seasons. His latest in Utah was last year. The Jazz made 6 trips to the postseason while he was there from 2016 through 2022. Utah had a 294-178 record, and that was the 3rd highest winning percentage in the NBA and the best in the Western Conference over that span. And this isn't Snyder's first trip to Atlanta because he was actually assistant coach with the Hawks back 10 years ago with Coach Bud. In a statement released by the Hawks from Snyder, he says, "I am thrilled to go back to Atlanta as the next head coach of the Hawks." Landry has a tremendous reputation as an incredibly bright, high character, high quality individual, and it was quickly evident that we share a passion and commitment to building a winning team with a strong foundation and high standards. I am excited to collaborate with Landry to create a successful program that devoted Hawks fans are proud of and cheer for. Snyder is going to be introduced to the team today at their training facility in Brookhaven, and you can see him in action courtside right here at State Farm Arena tomorrow while they play the Wizards. Reporting at State Farm Arena, I'm Madeline Montgomery, Atlanta News First.
All right, thanks to Madeline with that report as well. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about access to education here, and specifically a controversial new bill. Certainly a story that I think a lot of parents have been following. This new bill aims to actually use your taxpayer dollars for Georgia families who do not want their kids in the public school system. The Georgia Promise Scholarship Act would give $6,000 per year to families with children in private school, homeschool, or who do private tutoring. Students enrolled in public school would not qualify for this. Supporters say this gives families more educational freedom, but critics argue that public funds should not be used for students who are not attending public schools. A similar bill failed during last year's General Assembly. Always curious to hear folks' just kind of opinions on this, and feel free to share your comments on our social media platforms. We're always curious to see where folks are standing on this. Okay, we've also been following the latest with former President Jimmy Carter. Let's show you his image here. We've just kind of been checking in with those close to him to see how he's doing, and a close relative to Mr. Carter says that they're remaining by his side as he receives hospice care. The 98-year-old is still at his home with his kids and his grandkids. Carter's niece, Leanne Smith, says he's talking, he's eating. Following the news of his recent move, people from all across the world have been sending well wishes, of course. The 39th president decided to enter home hospice care and forego further medical treatment at the age of 98, as we've been reporting to you here on Atlanta News First. And, we've been kind of looking back during this time at the legacy he's created, not just in the U.S. at large, but particularly here in the state of Georgia, his home state. Of course, he's the only U.S. president that actually hails from here in Georgia. So we're going to keep following how he's doing and sharing that with you. Thanks so much for joining us here on Atlanta News First Plus. Have a great day.